Killer Klowns fans and circus goers, welcome back. It's been a long time since we've heard anything from the Killer Klowns games, and we finally got something. I'm sorry that this video has taken a little bit, but I haven't been in the best of spirits, but here I am to talk about the gameplay reveal for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Getting right into it, we see that Illfonic, the developer and creators of Ghostbusters, a recent asymmetrical game which is actually really fun. I've played it off and on, and it is really fun, and it seems that Illfonic has been keeping up with it really well. They also worked on Predator, which had some issues with it, and Friday the 13th, which of course had a few issues with it. But all in all, Illfonic with Ghostbusters, I think they did a really good job with that game. They're not developing this time around for Killer Klowns, but they are co-producing and producing with the game, publishing with the game, and helping to provide the financial support that the game is going to need. So jumping right into it, I know you guys don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about the gameplay. So let's just jump right into this. So right away, we get a nice look at Shorty, Jumbo, and Spiky here. It looks like they're in a carnival area. You know, you got the survivors running away. These maps look like they're going to be big, and there's going to be a lot of chaos, and it's up to the three clowns to try to take over a section of town. Right off the bat, the animations and the combat look pretty damn good. The first thing that comes across is it looks fun, wacky, silly, and it's a combination and fine-tuning of silly but brutal at the same time, and I like that. I mean, that's obviously the way the ingredients should be implemented, but I'm glad that when looking at it straight off on the screen, that's the way it comes across, and it just feels like Killer Klowns, you know what I mean? Now, looking at this screen with the forest and the two cars, I love that the maps seem to be filled with variety. You know, you got this little woodsy area, you're running around in the woods, and then you got the carnival area. I'm sure there's going to be like a suburban neighborhood area, and it's just, there's a lot of variety going on with the sceneries here.
Wrap soft skins in cotton candy cocoons. Hunt and kill and eat.
If you guys noticed, the clowns speak. That was one of the things I talked about back when we were discussing the overview of the game, is whether the clowns were going to speak and how they were going to sound. Were they going to jibber jabber or whatnot? And it looks like they have chosen to go the actual spoken language route while also keeping the aesthetic of how they sounded from the film. So they sound exactly as they did from the film, but now you can actually understand what they're saying, and I like that. It's cool, because now you can actually hear them when they taunt other players, and you can hear their voices when they're talking to each other, and I think that's a really good choice for how they're going to be interacting with each other and the victims on the map. The voices are done really well. The audio sounds great. Like hearing the music while you're in game is probably going to be a treat, the ambience of the game. Now, one thing I'm seeing with the human cocoons is that the clowns will be able to put them places. I don't think this is necessarily on the ship either. So I'm wondering, you guys, if you kill survivors, or not kill them, but knock them out and put them in a cocoon and then put them in designated spaces, does this grant the clowns, you know, extra powers or some kind of perk, or does it activate a perk? You know, like say put 3 cocoons here, you get a perk activated for the entire clown team, you know? So you're kind of like getting the NPCs in cocoons and putting them places in order to get an up perk or something to have an advantage over more of the humans you come across, and then, you know, the humans will have to then fight back against this. This is very interesting. It looks like there's a boat escape. Is this like a little little bit of a callback to Friday the 13th, maybe. I'm not sure if the boat is used for escaping or if it's used for transportation, but let's go ahead and assume that it's used for escaping, since we all know that Randy Greenback, the director of the game, has worked on Friday the 13th when he was working for Gunn back in the day. So maybe this is a nice little call out to one of the escape methods from Friday the 13th, now placed in Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Right here with Spiky and his balloon dog, you see that the victim is doing stealth, so I'm enjoying the fact that you can stealth in the game, and then there's going to be moments where you need to sneak around and not be seen. And, kind of like Texas Chainsaw right now, you can make the choice of whether you want to run around and be crazy and shoot it up and you choose the action sort of scenario, or you can choose to play more reserved and stealth around, and just depending on who the character or person you pick, the NPC that you pick to play as, that will determine more of what your play style is going to be like on a match. One moment you're playing, balls out, guns blazing, and then when you die and you get pushed into another NPC, well, with that specific character, now you're going to have to adjust and play a little bit more reserved because they don't have the manpower, so to say, to get into the face of the clowns and, shoot them and, attack or distract or whatever it is you want to do. I like this little shot of the clown coming out from the shadows right here. You can see a lot of placeholder stuff on the right. I'm sure a lot of the graphics and the visuals are not done yet, so it's really cool of them to actually place placeholder kind of things in the trailer and be okay with it. You don't see too many developers do that, but I'm glad that the team is transparent enough to show us this and be confident enough in the game, but I'm glad they show us this anyway. Get a shot of the popcorn gun going off there. I'm really loving the sounds from the clowns and whatnot. They just all sound great. The sound effects sound great. One thing I am concerned about, you guys, this is a problem right now in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I'm glad we got to play that game first before going into Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Developers, if you're watching this video, take this into consideration, please. Since this game is dealing with weapons on both sides, from the clowns and the victims, please test out the stuns, right? So when you can stun somebody in a game, you guys, this is a big, big issue. When you can stun somebody in a game, whether it's through hitting them with something, hitting them with a door, doing something to knock the player out of play and they lose control, hands off the character, whether it's for 1, 2, 3 or 10 seconds, whatever the stun, where it knocks them over or they get pushed, and their character's like, ugh, and they can't move for a few seconds. Test this out. Get some players on your game that are going to push this hardcore. Abuse it, exploit it. See if you can stun the characters over and over and over and over again to the point where it's frustrating, right? Because right now in Texas Chainsaw Massacres, the developers have placed in the ability to stun players with the doors, right? Like the doors will knock a player over and they're on the ground, right? Or the family, the killers, get knocked over on the ground, and when they get back up, they get stunned again right away. So as soon as they come out of the animation, they're getting knocked with a door again, and then that's infinite, right? They get up, knock over again, get up, knock over again. So this kind of stuff is not good for any game, right? It's just not a good feeling at all. So developers, if you're watching this video, anybody, Randy, I don't know. I just feel it's very, very important to focus in on weapons. Last Year, the game called Last Year, and various other asymmetricals that introduce weapons in a game. You have to be very, very careful with how these weapons are implemented, because whether it's stunning or abusing or finding something to exploit within the match, that you're just using a weapon or whatever it is, and you're stunning a player and just fucking with them, right? You're sticking around them. You're not running away like what is intended, but rather you're sticking around just for the sake of effing around with the other player. Get players in your game when you're in the testing cycle to just abuse it. Just, let them get in there and learn how to use it first. And once they learn how to use stuff, then they follow up 2 or 3 days later on abusing it and exploiting it. So just, definitely focus in on that. Moving on, the lighting looks amazing. Right here, I love this shot of the player being pulled into Jumbo's hypnotic get over here type of finger wave, and the lighting right here, spooky. I love that this game has a combination of beautiful and spooky at the same time. It's very fun but can also be creepy, which is exactly how it's supposed to be. You got this little pizza box running around. I love it. It's goofy. Like, stuff like this reminds me of, like, back in the day. You guys remember, like, Clay Fighters and, goofy little games like that from back in the SNES days, the SNES days, where, you'd have, it's like little goofy things like this. I don't know, all this has a good vibe around the game. I like that a game can be creepy and like, oh my god, brutal, but then at the same time it has all this silly stuff going on in it. I think that, if the developers do it right, will resonate with the crowd in a way, because it's fun, but it's because it has just this atmosphere and ambiance about it. It's just fully Killer Klowns all the way. And then right here, what seems to be like Mortal Kombat type finishing moves that the clowns can do on the survivors that I guess that they want to destroy and not cocoon. But it's like a little finishing move, which is exciting that the game will have those. So, if they continue with stuff like this, making new clowns, making new finishing moves for them, this game could essentially have what Mortal Kombat did to the fighting genre back in the day. So what I'm saying is, Street Fighter was, like any other fighting game back in the day, but then MK came out and they started adding finishing moves, and that was like one of the really big sparks for that game, is that you could finish people at the end. Be kind of cool in this game is, if you, instead of just knocking down and doing a simple little execution, is these clowns have this big flashy finishing move type deal. That's exciting, and I think is a really good choice for this game if that's what this entails right here. Looks like right here she shot the clown. Now the shot looked like it hit him in the shoulder. So I know you have to shoot the clowns in the nose and pop their little red nose to kill them, but maybe, I don't know if maybe that hitbox is just very forgiving, but this shot right here, the first thing that I noticed is that it wasn't that accurate, but yet it still managed to kill him. So one thing I would hate is to see is if the other players didn't have to be too accurate to kill a clown. How easy is it to kill the clowns? Will they have to be, is it going to be one of those things where if they see somebody with a gun, they're going to shit their pants and the players are going to be running the other way because they know how easy it is for them to get killed? We'll have to see how the accuracy and all that stuff works out when the game comes out in beta or final. I love the spinning animation and then the explosion there, very reminiscent of the films. Now, all this going on right here at the end seems to be like in-match situations, end of the match situations, where it's finishing up. Maybe the survivors have done what they need to do. I'm not sure what the pink explosion is. I'm not sure if that's the clowns winning right there, or if it is, I'm assuming it might be the survivors blowing up the tent. Or I'm just not sure what that is, but it looks really cool. Got Shorty walking around, and then the trailer comes to an end. From what I'm looking at here, this looks really fun. Like, it's colorful. It's also creepy at the same time. That's going to be a really fun balancing act with the presentation of the game, is just the creepiness and the fun. The silliness, the vibrance of the game. It's going to be a very interesting balancing act for the game, but I hope that Teravision can pull it off. It looks like they are so far. Now keep in mind, a lot of the visuals in this trailer, you guys, you can clearly see that a lot of it is placeholder where they're not finished with textures and some of the graphics. So it's very nice of them to actually put a trailer out that with unfinished environments like that in there. So don't fret seeing a wall that looks like a green wall and it's obviously not finished yet or whatnot in there. There's plenty of it in there. You can see that they're not finished. But other than that, the presentation of the trailer itself is really nice. But yes, definitely my biggest thing is definitely test the hell out of this game before it comes out, because you just never know what players are going to do when they get in the game that you didn't expect. They're going to abuse the tools that you give them, devs, and they're going to use anything they could do to get ahead in a match. It will be competitive. It will be fun at the same time, but people will make it competitive. It's just a fact of how these games go. So find some competitive people, Killer Clown devs, put them in the game and let them just run around and go all out, and because you know how people are going to try to play this game when it comes out. That said, I really love this trailer. Teravision and Illfonic and Good Boy Shepherd Entertainment, you guys have been doing what seems like an awesome job on this game. I really can't wait to try it out myself, hands-on, with the beta when it comes around soon. You guys have a good one. That's all I wanted to say with this video. Hopefully, maybe we'll get to play a beta by holiday season. That would be really nice. I will see you guys later.